Alrighty then, it's time for our final conversation of this morning.
Of course.
And on the couch,
we have Themzy Osadebay, the CEO of Afro Trap Media, and a show promoter who has worked with so many artists, right?
Yeah.
And of course, gone on tours around the world.
She's going to be telling us more about her role as showbiz queen right here on the couch. It's great to have you with us. Welcome.
Nice to meet you too.
I love the beads, by the way.
Thank you.
Loving it.
Have to represent Nigeria.
So just talk to us about a day in the life of a show promoter.
Well, a day in our life, we strategize based on what's the concept. Are we doing a tour or are we doing an event? If we're focusing on an event, who is the artist?
Okay.
Then you focus on the artist, and the artist becomes, in a way, your selling point. You kind of use the artist to do promotions. You do things like awareness, word of mouth, communicating with university students. If it's depending on what type of audience you're targeting. So a day in my life would mainly be focusing on preparing for a tour or a show and focusing on making sure it actually happens, getting the contracts in. Countries like, for example, if you're going to Belgium or you're going to the UK, you have like rules whereby you need work permit, you need this, you need that. So getting all the paperwork in as well.
Okay.
It feels like it's a cross between being an event planner, being a momager, being a travel consultant, and a lot of things all together, don't you think?
Yeah, of course, definitely. So I think my question now is, okay, I mean, we see these amazing shows. I mean, we're in the time and days where we have so many events happening left, right, centers. We have artists, known and unknown, going on tours, having stage performances and all that kind of stuff. So now I want to know, so when we're looking at all of these things happening, right, how much is the work of the show promoter as opposed to how much is the work of the artist? Because most times we actually see David is having stuff and we see him everywhere. So like what is the...
I think with the shows, the show promoter is more responsible for everything. And the artist, he brings his creative, unique songs that everyone knows already. But the promoter organizes it and creates the event.
The entire thing.
Make sure it actually happens.
So I want to touch a bit on the issue of shows now. We've heard quite a few times that, artists get to the venue late. And, sometimes they don't show up. So a lot of people on social media don't exactly know who exactly is to blame. And they end up pushing a lot of it to the artist because that's the face they see. But what's your opinion on that?
It depends. Logistic manager. There should be a logistic manager in place who is planning what time should the artist be at the venue, what time is the artist doing their mic check, outfits, all of that. That's normally on the manager and the promoter, not actually on the artist all the time, unless the artist is like a snob.
So exactly. So I was going to say now, how do you handle like difficult artists that actually flout all these rules and guides you actually give them? How do you handle that?
Well, the thing is, you kind of have to remind them that your face is out there. At the end of the day, it's not my face. So your music, your fans, if you want to have your fans fall in love with you over and over again, you have to make sure you show them that time and effort and not make them feel like, oh, I'm too big, I can't be bothered. And most artists, they actually realize it. Some don't, but when it comes to actually working and knowing that they've been prepping for this show for the last 3 months, they kind of already know they have to be at a particular space.
I was going to touch on the difference between working with a male artist and a female artist. And in your opinion, who are more challenging to work with?
Funny enough, I've never really actually worked with a female artist.
Is that intentional?
No, I've tried so many times. Like I would reach out to them, and it's just like, they can't be bothered with. I don't know. Maybe it's a female to female thing in entertainment. But with male, it's more like they just get on with their work. And with females, you have more responsibilities. Like You're looking out for them, getting to the venue, unlike males, they're more independent, even as artists. And females, they're more like, no, we need to do our makeup, we need to do this, we need to do... So I think it's going to be much more harder, but I haven't actually worked with one.
All right.
So now I have this question. Now, when you're selecting the artist to work with, do you come with anyone? Do you go with anyone that reaches out to you? Or what is it? For instance, you say you've reached out to a number of them. So what are those things you look out for before you say, okay, you know what, I want to work with this person? Or is it just anyone?
I look out for what's currently trending out there, not out here. Because out here, everything starts, then we start listening to all the other songs. So I look at what's got potentials. Like, for example, we're doing the Spyro UK tour in the next 2 weeks. And I reached out to him about February before he released the Tiwa song. And it was more like I saw that potential.
Even
like,
before it got that big.
So you kind of like, if you've managed an artist, you've worked in entertainment, you know what your audience want. You know how to target what your audience want because you've got your own.
So, you know, in many different fields, you sort of have like a, should I use the word rate card for the services you provide? You know, you as a creative, someone in the industry. So I've always wondered how promoters are able to charge and who are they charging? Are they charging the artists, you know? And then, so how exactly does a show promoter make their money? Do they make it off ticket sales? Do they make it off other things the artist is doing? You need to let us into some of the background.
There's different types of making money.
All right.
Okay, so as a tour manager, you can make money off selling the artist for a particular price. Then you have an agreement with the management and the artist. This is your fee. This is how much I'm going to sell you, but this is how much I'm giving you. So that's how, as a tour manager. Now, as just an events promoter, it's more based on your ticket sales. And that is also, depends on how you sell. Like, for example, in the UK, you have a standard ticket for like 20, 25 pounds. So as a promoter, you estimate your profit already before you actually do the show. And carefully, like I would do something like, the capacity is 500 times 25 pounds. I wouldn't calculate the VIPs or anything. I would use that to estimate what I'm gonna make. Then like that I can now
So
have those discussions.
Okay, so I was actually going to ask this question because I mean last year December we had Ashake selling tickets at 70k per ticket, right? And people were wondering like, this is strange.
So that's $100. That's about
so we've not, this is strange. So I'm thinking now, how much does the artist influence the price of the tickets?
Not much.
Not much. So that was not him.
The artist gets a fee or has an agreement with the management. You're getting 50% of this whole show. But actually the people prepping are the ones making the decision.
But then again, for him to be able to charge that high is based on his brand and what he has done with the brand. So still he doesn't have so much of a say in it.
You wouldn't see an artist really selling his own tickets.
No. But his name does it.
His name does.
His name
especially if he has influential fans.
Management can kind of like have an idea of what works for the artist.
Thanks for letting us in on your back end strategy. It's like we're in a boardroom just now. Like, so would you like to be a show promoter with Free? I think we should do like a masterclass on this.
Actually.
We're going to be heading to the kitchen soon.